Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about one of our least favorite shows on television, Adam Ruins Everything. This time, Adam has returned for the fall season a bit early, and he just had a new episode a few days ago. And what's his latest topic, you might ask? Well, this time, Adam thought it would be a great idea to make yet another episode bashing the United States. You know, the country that made this guy rich and famous. And only a free and transparent country like America would even let Adam or other anti-American liberals go around making careers bashing their home country while living in it and making money off it. Do you guys really think this amount of anti-patriotism would fly in another major superpower state like, say, Russia, China, or even Britain? Not a chance. And that freedom to criticize and even protest or attack your homeland is one of the things that makes our nation so great. But while I stand by Adam and his right to speak freely and call us out like this, but I certainly don't agree with the actual conclusions he reaches, obviously. Basically, Adam is an anti-American liberal who hates this country because he's a Debbie Downer, and he's constantly shown this on his show before too, by doing things like calling America racist for no reason, bashing the monument to our founders and presidents, Mount Rushmore, and so on and so forth. If you guys want to catch up on Adam Ruins Everything and our video rebuttals we've made about him, go ahead and check out a link to that playlist below. For now, let's go ahead and move on to this new episode called Adam Ruins America, which just premiered a few nights ago. But before we get into it though, let's first take a quick moment to hear from today's sponsor, Vikings War of Clans. A big thanks to Vikings War of Clans for sponsoring today's video. Their development team asked me to try it out, and since it's free, I figured, why not? And I have to say, I was happily surprised with how it turned. This game is an awesome RPG strategy game that's inspired by 90s classics like Final Fantasy. Yes, Vikings War of Clans is a truly fun experience that everyone out there should give a shot today. The game has a great visual style as well, and it's packed with excellent 3D visuals for a gorgeous presentation that's also paired with a fully immersive soundtrack that will immediately transport you into the world of the Vikings. In the game's story, you inherit the role of Jarl, the leader of your own kingdom, and after that you begin building your town, searching the area for resources, and building your own army as well. So help support my channel No Bullshit today by downloading the Vikings link below this video. And if you download this free game today, you'll also get a special bonus of 200 gold coins and a protective shield to use in the game as well. And if you care to try, go ahead and look me up in the game under the name No Bullshit YouTube, and we could play together and have some fun. Thanks for your time, and now back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's move on to the Adam Ruins Everything episode and why it's so wrong. Doing these kinds of reviews are going to be a bit trickier going forward this year since YouTube really doesn't allow us to use clips from TV shows anymore without getting copyrighted, so you guys are going to have to bear with me. I'm going to have to explain things more and just use still images, and I'll do my best to state and explain what Adam says, and then we'll go over it how we usually do and how he's usually always wrong. But also, Adam is a biased, liberal-pushing, anti-American propaganda artist because, well, the left can't stand our patriotism and they want everyone to hate this country just like them. This kind of anti-patriotism, anti-American propaganda also helps divide us, and it's part of the left-wing goal. They're trying to keep us from supporting our country, government, and often conservatives too, who get lumped into all this stuff. Keep all that in mind. Okay, so things start off in this episode with a little 4th of July celebration happening in some American town. Here, Adam Ruins Everything's signature character, Uncle Sam, makes a return appearance, and he's just as obnoxious and anti-American as always. Well, he's actually pretends to be super pro-American as a way to parody us. And well, after a brief introduction by Uncle Sam, Adam then makes his over-the-top entrance, sporting his usual puffed-up hair and over-stylized, clashy clothing. And just look at this monstrosity in this picture. I normally try not to focus this much on looks anymore, but I don't think I can ignore this outfit. And I think we already know how flamboyant Adam already is, but this new episode's outfit really goes even further than I thought possible. As if this actor and character couldn't get more over the top, this new outfit for Adam actually has 5 different distinct clashing patterns, and it's so hideous to look at, I almost have to shield my eyes. Regardless, let's go over all the patterns on it real quick before I start to lose my lunch. First, there's the suit jacket, which has spread out clumps of smaller lines forming these bigger lines which make big squares on Adam's outer layer. Next, he's got a button-down shirt on underneath underneath that. And on that, there are thin, catching, vertical lines upon it. And then, between those two, Adam is wearing a spotted tie, with the spots lined up to form these diamond-like shapes in his middle section. And finally, to top things off, Adam's jacket is garnished with two more patterns. First, the American flag pin that's near his collar, which also has its own set of two very distinct patterns actually, the stars and stripes if you want to count those. And then, in Adam's jacket pocket, he has a handkerchief sticking out, adding yet another color and yet another pattern to this already cluttered attire. And don't worry, we're going to move on soon too, but I had to go over this outfit completely because there is a larger point to this here. This getup that Adam has on, combined with his just as over-the-top glasses and hairdo, and you put all that together and this is a perfect analogy for Adam and his show here too. The ideas presented in this show are much like their host, and well, they're all terrible and they're bad looking and off-putting on their own. That's why True TV and their writers, they have to dress up these bad facts with fancy patterns, colors, bells, and whistles and whatnot. Because at first glance, things and issues and ideas that Adam pushes here, like this episode's anti-Americanism or previous episodes that talked about everyone being racist and trying to make this country socialist, well, those ideas, much like Adam, they're bad and terrible and hard to look at. And that's why the liberals behind this show need to overproduce it, overpay people to make it, and have it expertly written, full of misinformation and sleight of hand and bad faith arguments. And they do all this in order to try and push their bullshit. Regardless, let's finally get into what Adam actually says today about the United States, shall we? His first line of the episode is quite a doozy too, so without further ado, upon entering the first scene at the 1 minute mark on this, Adam says this gem: America is far from perfect, and believing that it is just makes things worse. And well, I have to say right off the bat, who actually believes that America is perfect? I don't think I've heard anyone say that almost ever. In fact, I myself have always gone out of my way since the beginning to note that America is not perfect, but I still do believe it's the best and it is my favorite place, and I like it for many other reasons, but we all know it's not perfect. So for as much as I or others preach pro-United States in many of our videos, we still identify where things are wrong here and where things are bad or getting worse as well. Like for example, there's my criticisms of woke levels rising in television and film and video games. And it's not just me, it's others out there too. And from what I've gathered watching lots of television and YouTube and the internet and seeing what others say on the matter, no one's saying this country is perfect, besides Adam, who then promptly tries to beat down that argument he made up. So yeah, I hate to break it to you, Adam ruins everything and his crew and his slick liberal writers, but no one is saying this country is perfect. Literally no one. Every single American that you actually talk to, listen to, or watch their shows, podcasts, or vlogs, well, we'll all admit this, obviously. There are plenty of issues and problems and things that could be better in the United States. But at the same time, while people like us conservatives and right-wingers, we might complain, but we also follow those complaints up by saying, regardless of these issues, we still love America and it's the best place to live in our opinion. But that's where us and liberals like Adam vary drastically. And that's also where his radical assumption here comes from too. When Adam identifies the things wrong with America, that makes him hate this country and despise it. And he hates it so much that he's made a TV show career out of calling us racist and blaming America for everything that ever went wrong in the world. And because people like Adam are so far gone, they can't see anything good or likable about this country anymore. And that's why when Adam sees people like us who actually still like this country, he has to resort to framing us up and strawmanning us, pretending we said this country was perfect and infallible and there's nothing wrong with it ever, when really no one's saying that at all. I mean, maybe someone once said that in the history of the world. I'm sure there's perhaps one random teenager in Colorado who went on a pro-USA rant on Twitter years ago, like once, but the small amount of people who may have actually said America is perfect certainly aren't significant, and they're not worth addressing seriously like how Adam is here. Really, what he's trying to do is lump all pro-Americans in with the pro-extremists who think America's perfect. And that's a very rare group that he's trying to spread all over the country. And Adam's doing it in order to make us all look wrong together and trying to say we're biased when really we're not. Next, Adam says this one: this country's got to stop believing its own myths and start facing the facts. And then the intro to the show plays. And I guess we'll have to press forward and see if Adam actually addresses any truly believed myths, or if he's really going to keep making false assumptions that intentionally make his opponents look bad on bad faith. I can't wait to see where this all goes. So the first section of this episode pretends to be talking about the American dream. Uncle Sam says he's proud of this country and believes in it, but then Adam, being the party pooper that he is, well, he claims that the American dream is a myth because upward mobility is lower in America than in some other countries. And this transition is kind of jarring, and it's a weird turn Adam takes here too. Uncle Sam is talking about the American dream and then boom, Adam immediately defines it very specifically and weirdly as upward mobility, which makes it very convenient for him since Adam has a study ready to go saying USA is ranked 10th or 12th in the world in regards to upward mobility. But really, firstly, that's not the actual definition of the American dream at all. And two, secondly, being ranked 16th out of hundreds of countries in the world isn't actually that bad, and our low ranking is probably easily explainable. But regardless, let's focus on the American dream part of this first. Sure, being able to make money is part of the American dream for some people, but not necessarily everyone. Some people just want to come here and be free and not be under an authoritarian dictator country. They don't care if they're poor in this country, they're just glad they're not slaves in another. And also, some people do want to be slackers and they like to live on the low and possibly stay in their parents' basement their whole lives. Other people might dream of having a specific job or career, and that career might not make them lots of money either, but they still want that job because it fulfills them in other ways. Basically, what I'm getting at is the American dream is different for everyone, and depending on who you ask, it may or may not involve making lots of money, or specifically, it may involve upward mobility, or it may not. But Adam would have you believe that the entire American dream is about specifically upward mobility. He narrows the definition of it so that he can easily knock it down, and him proving that America is 16th in upward mobility is an attempt to make his side of the argument look stronger, even though if you're paying attention like I am, Adam is just knocking down yet another straw man. He knows if he really defined the American dream broadly and honestly like how I did and how everyone does, well, that would show that the dream is still alive and well in the United States, and our country is still a great place to live and chase your life's goals, dreams, and aspirations. We've got freedom in America. We've got space to live and capitalism to give us jobs, industry to make stuff for us, and technology to make things easier. And we've got much more than that too. But obviously that's not good enough for Adam Conover. He wants the USA to rank #1 in some random study. Otherwise, according to him, the American dream is dead. Then to wrap up this segment, Uncle Sam transitions to talking about the US Constitution, after which Adam makes the same claim he did about America earlier. He says it's not perfect. And again, as we went over extensively, no one has said it's perfect. But Adam apparently really likes to frame his opponents up as saying things are perfect, because that's an easier argument for him to reply to and to beat down. It's much easier to beat down saying something's perfect than to say something's good or great. Many people would say, yeah, America and its Constitution are really great, awesome, and one of the best, but no one says it's perfect. Perfect implies it has no flaws, and that's why Adam uses that term, so he can beat down that fake argument easier. Because obviously there are flaws in America, the Constitution, and everything. There are flaws in everything ever in the history of the world. So Adam using this term to try and beat down his opponents is pretty pathetic. And well, with all that said, that already debunks Adam's second argument about the Constitution not being perfect. But let's go ahead and take it one step further, shall we? You see, Adam is right when he points out that many don't think it's perfect, including the founding fathers themselves who wrote it. But that's why they eventually added the Bill of Rights and the amendment process shortly after. Because now, with that addition, the US Constitution has a way to fix, amend, and update itself, should changes need to be made and imperfections found. Now, that's not an argument to say it makes the Constitution perfect now, but it is pretty damn close. And let's also not forget, Adam hasn't even cited or sourced any one person who has said the Constitution was perfect. Sure, he showed some clips of people talking about it positively, and this show also tries to cite sources on its own website and make itself look legitimate, but that's just them trying to look credible and make it look like they have proof and some higher ground here when actually they don't. Really, the two biggest claims of this Adam Ruins Everything episode are straw-manned phrases that no one legitimately has ever said or pushed for. No one is saying the Constitution is perfect, just like no one is saying the United States is. We just like it here a lot and we respect our government, but that triggers anti-Americans like Adam who wish we were some kind of socialist shithole. Then Adam's show gets even worse here, believe it or not. After bashing the United States, the American dream, and our Constitution and government, Adam Ruins Everything then goes on to bash our founding fathers in some of the lamest and most dishonest ways possible. First, he attacks the Constitutional Convention, saying the founders exceeded their authority when they threw out the Articles of Confederation, our first government document, and then decided to rewrite and reform everything with the Constitution. Next, Adam goes classic 2016 left-wing SJW by bringing up slavery here as a way to shame Americans and our founding fathers once again. Here, Adam claims the US could have ended slavery back then when it was created and wrote the Constitution. But then Adam quickly debunks himself when he admits the southern states would have never signed and joined our government if they banned their labor force. I guess Adam just thought this was a cute way to bash our country and bring up slavery out of nowhere once again. But I just see it as a petty attempt to slander the historic founding fathers of this country, many of who clearly did want to end slavery, but they literally could not pull it off at that time in any way possible. people. Regardless, Adam has shown his true anti-USA colors here once again. In the end, Adam continues this section by repeating his absurd argument by saying, how could you call that document perfect? And as I've said from the beginning over and over, no one has called it perfect, Adam. Stop saying that. Stop making shit up and stop bashing our country while you're at it. You're a hack fraud, Adam, and you're unpatriotic, boring, and you're a party pooper too. So I say get over yourself, and you know what? If you don't like this country so much, you can get out. What do you guys think? Have you ever seen anyone claim America or the Constitution is perfect? What is it with Adam and his straw man arguments? And do you guys want more Adam Ruins Everything videos here on No Bullshit in the future? Because I could actually make another one about this episode we just covered. I barely had time to go over half the bullshit in this, so if you guys want a part 2 to this Adam Bashes America video, go ahead and hit that like button below this video. And if we get, say, 8,000 likes, I'll make another Adam Ruins Everything video, a part 2 to this America bashing disaster. Besides that, comment your thoughts on everything else below. And thanks for watching No Bullshit. And until the next video, have a good one, guys.